Very dark and hellish, 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 very dark and hellish. I do believe I might live here as long as I cannot breathe. I chose to walk this whole path where my phantoms may follow. I saw them, made both my eyes bleed. She told me, make up your mind for I find someone else. Walked in on her supplying his need. One hand on the tear, the other was gripping him close as he let off. She swallowed the sea. Why is it very dark and hellish, 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 very dark and hellish. Once I looked outside her stomach, I saw both my parents in rage. Inside an argument where items thrown at each other, my mother in obvious pain. So was my father, but both of them could not refrain. Confrontation, the end of this game. Till one was badly bruised, holes in the wall from them knocking it down. That's how I knew my name. Why are we very dark and hellish, 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 very dark and hellish. Let me out the dungeon, say let me out the dungeon. Let me loose so I can vomit, let me loose so I can vomit. Oh, just let me out the dungeon, say let me out the dungeon. Let me loose so I can vomit, let me loose so I can vomit. You the night it could consume me, you the night it would consume me. You the night it could consume me, you the night it would consume me. You the night it could consume me, you the night it would consume me. You the night it could consume me. Set me free, it just subdue me.
Never knew the life, very pale, never living tight. So we do the fight, medicine advised to revive with some real advice. Really should have died in the womb, but you see my bigger sibling for the different fight. When he put the plug, looking up above with the water rolling out my eyes. See, I never knew, speak to heaven and I asked why. But my grandmother always told me never question God, so I did it and I kept it moving. But I feel surprised, cause the ruin of another human kinda made my life. Then I wonder, am I so deserving, put me on the pine? Cause the way that I've been living showed me the long line. In the underworld where the lava levitate, but it's met with limitation and a torched out. Tell the truth when I say the fear isn't far behind. If the devil is alive, tell a nigga that I run into him. If he need a sidekick, then I'm down the ride. Let me fill a gap with him as I try to reconcile with my people back in it. But they said that I'm derived of a Holy Ghost, but I know the sentiment is right. Who are you to judge? Hold it in while I hold a grudge. Man, I've had enough, everything is tearing me to bunch. I won't even budge, even though they say the pain is never temporary. So my sensitivity is now a rush.